Yeah, I got the best fucking garden in the last few years. Jose. I mean, a lot of the gardening I do around here myself. I trim my own bougainvillea, but I have a big palm tree that I can't climb up and trim. And every year around by July 1st, all the dead prawns have to be trimmed off of it. Otherwise, the HOA will fine me money, which used to be $50 a week. Now it's like 100 or 200 a week. They do fine for that shit. Plus, you want to get all that crap down anyway, so it looks better. I don't want to drive through my neighborhood and see a bunch of dead prawns on palm trees. So this gets rid of it. The HOA wants you to do it by July 1st, roughly. So this guy drives by and he goes, because I told him to come by. He came by last week. And so usually he trims that. And then I have a olive tree that needs to be trimmed like once or twice a year. It's a pretty big olive tree. Otherwise, I just have bougainvilleas and like small palm trees that I deal with myself because I like to garden. Why pay him to trim my bougainvillea when I can do it just as good for free and I like it? I like gardening. I grow weed. So he comes by. He goes, he's got his nephew working for him that climbed up the tree because this guy's in his 50s or 60s. Hispanic dude, Mexican guy. Yeah. He comes to me or calls me up. So he goes like this. He goes, I can trim it. And I go, well, like he said over the weekend or next week. And I go, well, I'm going out of town for a while. So I'm not going to, what I tell him, I go, just wait a few weeks when I'm back from town. This is why I'm here to pay you because I'm going to be out of town. How am I going to pay you? Or he goes, don't worry. I mean, obviously this guy trusts me. Normally I just pay him cash as he works. He goes, if you're not here, when you're not here, I'll just come by. My nephew will trim it. And when you get back in a few weeks, 2-3 weeks, just give me the money then. Yeah, okay, I go either way. Or if you want to wait, obviously this dude trusts me. Wait. It's $80 for him to trim the tree. But, it's a tall tree. You're talking 30 feet or something. It's a tall palm tree. Like where I live, there's literally thousands of palm trees around here in my community. And they like to get them, first of all, if it's a palm tree and you don't get rid of the dead prawns off of it, and it's a small tree, you get rats in there. You won't get them on the tall trees because rats don't usually climb up 30 feet. My palm tree has to be 30, 40 feet tall. It's huge. And it looks better once all the dead shit's off of it. And obviously, I'm not going to climb up it. You got to climb up it like a guy climbs up a telephone pole. So yeah, let him do it. I go either way, whatever you want to do. Come back in 3 weeks when I'm here, or because I got to go to Orange County for some business. I go come back, or he goes, no, I'll do it next week. You just pay. See, he did that before one time. One time I was gone and I didn't pay him for like a month. He didn't give a fuck. He trusts me. He's been my gardener for like 4 or 5 years. It's cool because even if I forget to call him or contact him, he'll just come by or he'll call me. Yeah. I mean, I don't have like grass or anything here, so it's not like I need my lawn mowed once a week. It's mostly just concrete, rocks, and plants that don't need a lot of water. Like a bougainvillea doesn't really need that much water. Palm trees really don't. It's weird. I left my olive. I like to put a hose into the ground near my olive tree, and I'll turn it on real slow so it's dripping out. But I had it fucking. God, what was it? I turned it on Tuesday, the water. See, if it's turned on too strong, it'll overflow the hole I stick it in, and it'll start falling off the plant or into the street and shouldn't leak into the street, the gutter. But so it was on so low, dripping, that I didn't see any water coming out, and I didn't turn it off until like what was it, Thursday or Friday. So it was basically my faucet was on for I'm curious to see what my water bill is going to be. It was on for 2 or 3 days, the water, but it wasn't coming out super fast, obviously. But so I soaked the shit out of that olive tree. And it had just rained too. We had a heavy rain, but it didn't rain that long. But like palm trees, I have a palm tree that I barely water. It's weird. Palm trees don't need a lot of water. People don't realize that. I'll tell you what needs a lot of water. Weed plants need a lot of water. Like when you're growing weed, the rule of thumb is you water it, and then whether it's hydroponic, well, let's say you just water it by hand. As soon as the soil dries out in a day or two, you want to water it again. But you don't want to overwater any plant either. Overwatering is just, see, underwatering causes the leaves to turn yellowish and brown, and you can tell when you're overwatering, the plant gets dried out. Underwatering, I mean. Overwatering, it's the reverse. The plant gets real soft, and like if you overwater a pot plant, the stalk, the main stalk will start, it'll get weakened, it'll get waterlogged. I mean, I've done it all. I've been growing weeds since 1995. What is that? And I have 30 years of weed growing experience. I mean, I've grown plants in my house in Anaheim Hills. I remember I bought a plant. It was a cypress, Italian cypress. Bought it at Home Depot, like 92, 93, whatever. And I put it in my car. It was in like a 5-gallon container or something. I don't know, 10-gallon. I was able to put it in my car, a truck I had at the time. So it must have been like 92, 93. I planted that thing. That thing got up to about 30 or 40 feet. It got so big, the HOA made me cut it down. And literally, it started out as just being 4 feet tall, maybe. So yeah, I have a good, for some reason, I've always been able to grow shit. When I was a kid, behind our old house in Anaheim on Cerritos Avenue, we had like a garage, and then there was a fence separating us from the neighbor. But there was a space back there that was probably, I want to say 5 to 10 feet wide, maybe 7 feet wide. And we grew vegetables back there. You know, I lived there between the age of 4 and 12. So we were growing stuff like, we would buy the seeds. I remember we grew like cucumbers, carrots. What else did we grow? Cucumbers, carrots, maybe strawberries or something. Celery. We had like 3 or 4 things. I remember the neighbor had a Great Dane behind the house there. And the Great Dane would jump up on the fence and almost, I think one time jumped over the fucking fence. And then you know who grew up next to me on the other side? People don't realize this. Ever heard of the group Blood, Sweat, and Tears? Look it up. There was the bass player. His name was Jim Fiedler. Look this up. I'm not making it up. Jim Field, F-I-E-L-D-E-R. Jim Fiedler. Just say, look up bass player for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Blood, Sweat, and Tears was a big group in the 60s, 70s. Yeah. They sang that song, Spinning Wheel, and they had that singer, I forgot his name, but he had a really weird, deep voice. Great voice. Anyway, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Just search them on fucking YouTube or whatever. Yeah, so he grew up next to me, and we would hear him play the bass, and my mom used to, it's funny, we used to like, you could hear him practice the bass. He was good, but he wasn't that good when he was starting out. And my mom would sometimes not complain to them, but because her bedroom we had a driveway separating his room or their garage where he practiced from like our back room and my mom's master bedroom. So this guy would practice the fucking bass. And I remember my mom would make comments like, why is she practicing the bass? It's like I can't remember what she says. It's just, you know, I think she even said, I hope he makes it big one time. He was actually pretty good. And I remember this was while he was in high school, we could hear him practicing the fucking bass. Yep. Then eventually this guy gets good enough to be in Blood, Sweat, and Tears. It was him. His mom and dad lived there. They lived next to us for like a long time. Like they were the original home buyers. He was a few years older than me. I think he had another brother too that was older, but he had two sisters. And one of his sisters was a god she was one of my first crushes. She was about, I want to say she's probably 2 years older than me or so. This chick was hot. Like I had a super, super crush on her. Oh yeah. She was friendly. She was 2, 3 years older than me, but this babe, I remember I would go over to their house and into their garage when he would practice his bass, and I would listen to him playing bass. And I was mostly over there to check his sister. I mean, because we were friendly with these people, but I was mostly over there, to listen to him play bass. This was way before I was in fucking Blood, Sweat, and Tears, because I was a clarinet player, so we had stuff in common. I never played with him. I wasn't that good, but he was a good bass player. He'd practice in the garage. He had his Marshall amp, and I would go over there to listen to him play bass and hang out. And keep in mind, I was like fucking 10 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, because we moved out of there when I was 13. So I lived there from age 4 to 12. I'm listening to this dude practice bass. And that was 40% of the reason I was there. 60% of the reason I was there was his sister. I think her name was it Corinne? No, that was somebody else. Either way, Irene, I can't remember her name. This girl, I should look at my old yearbook, man. Her last name was Fiedler. She was fucking, God, this girl was cute. I want to say when I was 10, she was probably 13 or maybe even 4. She was 3, 4 years older than me. Because I think she was already out of high school and junior high when I was in there. And those are 3-year institutions. So, but this chick, and so she had another sister that was older. She was the youngest. I'm just telling, I had a super, super crush on her. And then I remember she got us tickets when Blood, Sweat, and Tears was playing at the Anaheim Convention Center. She got tickets for their family, and she gave up my family tickets. So we sat like in the front row with them and stuff. And I got to sit next to her too. Yeah. Because I was friends with her. Now, did she know I had a wild crush on her? We were young. I was like 10 years old, 11. Now she didn't know because it wasn't that kind of thing. She wasn't dating anybody. But yeah, she was about 4 years older than me. 3, 4. I'm telling you. Oh, and I saw her one time changing in her room because she had left I forgot the circumstances. She was changing into a bathing suit. No, I just saw her in a bikini because she came to this pool with us to go swimming. But I didn't see her vajayjay. I just saw her in a bikini a few times. Many times, because she would swim with us at a pool we belonged to. So yeah, we were friends with these. She didn't, man, if I was older, I would have fucked her. She was just, but she was a goody girl. She wasn't like a slut or nothing, but I'm telling you, this chick, I'm not exaggerating. She was a solid fucking 9. A solid fucking 9. Maybe, yeah, she was a 9. She was super hot.